teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at donorschoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom.
Build a future.
We are the home of progressive Black Talk Media. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app. The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of the ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
All right, people. Write something on the board. Let's spell it. First letter.
L O G.
What's that? What?
It's time. It's time to have real, honest, open, difficult, and inspiring conversations. It's time for Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello. Hi there, family. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. Happy hump day to you. How are you making out in these the first few days of this new year? Oh, can you believe it? Can you believe it? I kept saying it as we were nearing or approaching the end of the year, that we were going to be here. Now here we are, 3 days into the year. How are you making out? Are you doing well so far? Well, I guess I won't guess about it. I know it to be true. Any day that we're still here is a present. It's a gift, right? So there's no guessing there. There's no guessing. But I do hope that you are managing well. I know the beginning of the year, the end of the year, it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. And you all saw me at the end of the year last year. We talked about all of that. In any event, I hope that all is coming along well with you and yours. All right. Happy birthday to all of our love bugs that are celebrating, especially if you are celebrating on today. You know, I believe we should all be spoiled absolutely rotten. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And family, you already know, if you are checking in or joining us, I should say, by way of socials, let us know that you are out there by sharing a comment or a two or a few, as many as you feel like it. You can also give us a call. You can do that by dialing 215-634-8065. You can even call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. That's because we love the love you share any way you care to share it. So, family, if your heart is heavy today, or if your light is shining just a little dimly, just know that I'm sending you some extra love and hugs, okay? On behalf of your entire tribe and village right here, just because I want you to know, and we want you to know, that you are not alone and you do not have to do this all by yourself, okay? Okay. I just want you to know that. I will share that some of our family members are checking in. Henry Purifoy. Hi there, Henry. He's sending a hello and some love to everybody. Brother Nasir is checking in as well, and he's sending peace and blessings to everybody. Hi there, Lenore. Lenore Sears Israel is waving hi to everybody, and we receive it. And so is Les. Hi there, Les. Les is sending hearts. I love it. I love it. We're sending love right back to you. You know we are. Nasir is sharing that all is well, but he's getting ready for this winter storm. I know. Let me tell you something. I was going to talk about that. Well, we will talk about that in the second hour in our open forum, but I have to go shopping. I have nothing in my house ready for a storm. Okay. Nothing. And Les, I love you more. I just want you to know that. Okay. Hey there, Jay. Jay is checking in too. That's Janine Williams saying, you know I love you. Well, you know I love you more. How about that? Okay. All right. No doubt about that. Family, have you checked out Cafe Mocha yet? I'm curious to know. I want to know if you have. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, well, tune in to Cafe Mocha every Sunday from 8 until 10 p.m. Cafe Mocha is radio from a woman's perspective. Check out the flavor from the hosts, comedian and actress Lonnie Love, hip hop legend Yo Yo, and broadcast veteran Angelique Perrin, as they all bring their own point of view to today's issues, social commentary, celebrity interviews, and self-help advice. All of this is wrapped in soundtracks of urban contemporary music. I love it. So family, that is Cafe Mocha, Sundays at 8 p.m. only right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Yes. All right, family, let's get started. I want you to meet, I always want you to meet some fascinating and phenomenal individuals. Well, tonight is no different. Our guest in this hour is a writer and a journalist. He's the author of the book, Among the Bros, a Fraternity Crime Story. I don't know what's going with my mouth tonight. It's fighting me. In any event, it is a book that details a story about Greek life on college campuses. So in 2018, Max did a story on the campus of the College of Charleston. He went there to investigate a small-time trafficking ring within a specific Greek fraternity, that is. But as he started reporting, it became clear that the scope of the crimes was far bigger than what was made public. So Max is here to talk with us and share with us. And when I tell you that I can't wait to hear this story and get into this and to share it with you, well, that's what I mean. So family, I invite you to the conversation with Max Marshall. Hi there, Max, and welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. We're so happy to have you. I was reading, when I was reading the information that was shared with us, I said, okay, I can't wait to get into this conversation. I cannot wait, because it feels to me, and from what I just shared, that you were on one path, and then it was just like the floodgates opened.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I came down to the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina in 2018, like you said, I thought I was just investigating a crime ring of these guys who got caught with 44,000 Xanax pills. I wanted to write about Xanax on college campuses. I'd seen a lot of it when I was in school.
Okay.
I was in a fraternity, and I was kind of shocked how much it was sort of this party drug, because Xanax is designed as a anti-anxiety tranquilizer. People take it for panic attacks or
Sure.
on plane flights, but it's actually a really popular party drug in fraternities. And so I thought, wow, 44,000 pills, that's kind of a lot. And I started to investigate, and a defense lawyer let it slip that not only had they been caught with 44,000 Xanax pills, they'd also been caught with about a dozen pounds of marijuana, a few pounds of cocaine, an assault rifle with a grenade launcher, a few other assault rifles, and 3.5 million Xanax pills. And
wait.
Yeah,
Max. First of all, I hate to interject,
no,
but
please.
before we dig into all of this, I do want our family members to know just a little bit about you first, before because this right here, I'm not going to let you go because I want to know every single detail, but I do want our family members to get to know you too.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
would you start by telling us just a little bit about you?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up in Texas. and then went to college in New York. And after college, lived in Vietnam, Hanoi, Vietnam for a year. And I was working as an investigative journalist there. That's kind of where I learned how to do this job. I was investigating basically international drug trafficking through Southeast Asia, these like cartels that were part Canadian, part Vietnamese, and they were connected to El Chapo, and they were moving drugs kind of all over the world. And it got me interested in these kind of stories. And I started thinking about my own life. And like I said, I was in a fraternity when I was in college, and I grew up in Texas where Greek life is huge. And, my parents were in it, all my friends were in it. And I had seen really just too many friends kind of lose their way to Xanax specifically. It's people didn't know when they got to college, but it's one of two drugs that's so addictive you can die from withdrawals. You can have a seizure just from trying to quit it. And yeah, I just felt like people really hadn't been warned. And so that's kind of, my part of the story was I wish my friends had been warned and they hadn't. And so kind of combining those two things, the kind of drug investigations I had done and the sort of personal story I had in Greek life, I was kind of thought, okay, well, how could I write a story about Xanax on colleges, but make it like this sort of page-turning investigative crime story? And then I found this really very crazy story of these guys and these fraternities, with millions of pills. And then I found there was a murder and, students who had died of overdoses and all these things. And ultimately, the big kind of twist at the end is that these guys who were from very sort of wealthy backgrounds, basically all of them got away with it. There's only one boy from the drug ring who's in jail now. Everyone else got suspended sentences, probation. The fraternities were allowed to remain on campus. And so,
What?
yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah. Sorry, I know it's a lot to get into, but luckily we got some time. But yeah,
Wait, no, Max.
yeah.
Oh my, no, I'm glad that you're sharing all of this because the hour goes by so quickly. So
For sure.
I'm glad that you did. I'm listening to you talk about two things. I'm living vicariously through you because I promise you, that's what I'd be doing as a journalist. But you look like a baby. And I'm saying you were what? You did what? You lived here, you lived there, and how did this story come to you? The story that everything that was taking place on this campus in Charleston. How did that come to you?
So yeah, I am the same age as all the guys in the story. I was in college from 2012 to 2016. And in about 2017, I was trying to think of, okay, how can I write about Xanax on college campuses? And I did the very investigative journalist thing of Googling Xanax bust fraternity. And the first result was an article about this drug ring, but it said they had only been caught with 44,000 pills. And then when I found out it was closer to 3 million and, a student had been murdered and, there are all these deaths. And that's when I realized this is a story that needs to be told and somebody really needs to look into this stuff.
Absolutely. So, okay, so many more questions now.
Sure.
Was anyone prosecuted for the death of the student?
Yeah. And so that's the sort of other part of this is, in a city like Charleston, it's more intense than even other American cities. Race is a big part of this story. All the boys in the drug ring were, white fraternity guys from sort of old Southern families for the most part. But the boy who had been murdered, the people who were prosecuted for killing this guy in a Xanax robbery, they were from West Ashley, which is the other side of the river in Charleston, and it's a completely different world. And they were young Black guys, same age as all the guys in this book. They were in their early 20s, and ultimately, even though there were sort of all these theories about the murder actually being a hit or all these other things, they sort of narrowed in on this one guy who was the driver, who no one believes pulled the trigger. But because he was the driver, and there's something called the hand of one principle in American law. If you and I, if Max and Carol robbed a bank together and you were the getaway driver and I went and I, shot the bank teller, they could put both of us in jail for murder. Because the hand of one is the hand of all. And that's what they used here. Basically, the getaway driver is in jail for the sentence he received was life plus 30. So he's in jail for the rest of his life without parole, because
Just the getaway driver.
yeah.
Okay, and how is that so? Just the driver?
Yeah. It's really unbelievable. And it's the book's about a lot of things, and in some ways it's this crazy party story, it's this crazy crime story, but it's also about how there really are two justice systems in America. And you really see it, if you can pay to have the best lawyers, it's a completely different thing. Because especially kind of in the South where I'm from, if you have the kind of lawyer who's a member of the country club with the judge, who plays golf with the judge, who goes sailing with the judge, or whatever it is, it's going to be a very different experience than if you have a public defender who has 24 cases on their docket, and it's just trying to get everyone to plea because that's really all they can afford to do.
First of all, I'm digesting everything
Sure,
that you
sure.
just shared. That is so much.
Yeah.
What I will do, though, is take a moment to go to our family members, because I'm sure that you are digesting this too, and that you have comments. Malcolm, hi there. Malcolm is joining us. Malcolm White, he shares 500,000 Xanax pills and listen, and a rifle. I just, when you said that, first of all, of course, there's so much going on in this world in which we live that I don't
Sure.
know how anything continues to surprise me, but everything seems to, that everything that you hear, seems to be bigger than the last thing that you hear. Malcolm shares that he's still tripping. He shares that he came in at the tail end of this conversation. Yeah, we do recognize that there are two different justice systems. We know. We've been aware for quite some time.
It's more like people on the other side are only just becoming aware.
Yeah. But it amazes me how it still is, how it is still able to be when there are so many of us that are aware. There are so many. I just don't really understand when we have allies. How it continues, how it's able to continue. And I'm sure that question is one that we will continue to discuss until things change.
Definitely.
But so here you come from Vietnam. Here you come here to Texas.
Yeah.
Well, you're from Texas, and here you come to Charleston, and for this drug trafficking, the weapons, the drugs, the murder, and it doesn't sound to me like anything changed.
No, I don't really think so. Like I said, so the two main fraternities involved were the Kappa Alpha Order and SAE, and these are two very old Southern fraternities. They were both founded right when the Civil War ended. Basically, both were founded right in the 1860s. As ways of sort of keeping the Southern way of life alive. And they're both very powerful. They've had alumni and, the Senate, Supreme Court justices, CEOs. And, a lot of money is in the Greek system. I think over 70% of every dollar given to colleges comes from Greek life alumni. So it shows you it's really where the elite congregate. They go there to drink together and meet each other, haze each other, and then ultimately, help each other out in the world. And when all this happened, and with the pills and the guns and the murder and everything, at the end of it, one fraternity, KA, they had to leave campus for 4 years, and then they came back. And then SAE never left campus at all. They were just allowed to stay on campus. And it's still true right now, even after the book came out. So it's a system that's very, very powerfully resistant to change.
Absolutely. Well, that's across the across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Family, hey there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for joining us. You are tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD. For those of you who have just come into the room, I know, I can tell your mouths are open wide. They're just on the floor. I can tell, I can tell because you're listening to Max share this incredible story. Well, guess what? We're going to take just a short commercial break, but note that the phone lines are open. And feel free to continue to comment on our socials. You know you are invited to this conversation. So welcome to Love and Life. Welcome to the conversation. Stay with us because we're coming right back.
WURD is happy to provide our listeners with the opportunity to participate in contests and win prizes. This is a reminder of our contest rules. All participants must be 18 years of age or older, depending on the contest. Persons may win only one prize from the radio station per contest for every 30-day period. Some contests might also specify one winner per household or company. Prizes must be claimed within 14 days or by 12 noon the day before the event, whichever is sooner, and must be accepted as is or forfeited. The radio station employees and their immediate relatives, sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, live remote sponsor employees and their immediate relatives, and any other media employees are ineligible to win the prize. Thank you for participating and for listening to WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling if it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
No, what's the word, boy? What's the word? What's the word?
WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We are talking with Max Marshall, and he is the author of the book titled Among the Bros, a Fraternity Crime Story. Now, if you have just tuned in, let me tell you something. Heavens to Murgatroyd. You've missed a lot. You've missed a lot. But guess what? Max is still here, and he's going to bring us up to speed. I do want to take a moment to go to our socials and share that our family members, they are talking, and I love it. I love it. Henry, I see you clowning me. Henry said that I was busting a move at my concert. Yes, I was. Don't you clown at my moves. I do what I can. Okay, I do what I can. And Tony Ward is checking in. Hi there, Tony. He's sharing that he hopes we all have had a prosperous, successful, safe, and blessed new year and beyond. Hey there, cousin. Hi there. And Gregory Riddick, my other cousin. Hey there, cuz. Saying hi. He's checking us out. Malcolm is sharing that he's watching and listening from West Mount Airy. You know, I look for that every day, right, Malcolm? You know, I look for that. I need you to tell me that you are watching and listening from West Mount Airy. And Eric has a question. He shares, "Hi there, I'm just tuning in. Good evening, Max. Welcome to the WURD family. At any point, by exposing this heinous crime, did you feel that your life or the lives of others would be in major jeopardy?"
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I definitely was afraid at a few points. You know, the student who's murdered, Patrick Moffley, they found his body surrounded by all these fake Xanax pills on the first Friday of spring break. And he was lying on the floor holding a Chipotle napkin to the bullet hole in his chest. And ultimately, in spite of the people that they did put in prison, or the one man they put in prison, there were all these other theories about, you know, was it a hit? Patrick himself, when he was lying dead, you know, gave two names of who he said robbed him, and only one of the people is in prison now. And so, you know, I definitely were there were people who were, you know, told me I should lay low or be careful. But ultimately, when you're dealing with fraternity guys, more what you're worried about is lawsuits or, you know, them trying to slander you, hurt your reputation, and, you know, do something like go on my Goodreads reviews and, you know, try to write as many mean things as possible. And that's something that I have seen. But these are guys that are more likely to resort to that sort of way of influence or punishment than maybe violence.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm challenged with it all, and I'm fearful for you because this is a lot.
Yeah.
Miss Lily is joining us as well. Welcome. She's sharing Happy Hump Day with all of us. And Henry shares, "What is really bad is when Black judges and district attorneys cave in and do the same thing." Yeah, I can only imagine how deep and how thick the system is, and how you know, how attached it has become. Miss Julie, hi there, beloved. She shares, "Heavens to Murgatroyd." Same here. A true situation. Max Marshall, you are phenomenal. To be able to tell it after living through it yourself or someone else's real experience.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, since with all of the information you found, how were they able to distribute the narcotics? How did they distribute
Sure.
them?
So yeah, I mean, it was a really big time ring. So they were using something called the dark web, which is basically an internet browser that pings your location all around the world. So if I'm sitting here using in Texas, it'll send it to a server in Australia, and then a server in Croatia, and then a server in Saudi Arabia. And so the police can't tell where you are. And so once you're on this thing, there's basically like it's kind of like Amazon for illegal things, and you can just order stuff shipped to you. And so what these kids would do is they would buy alprazolam powder, which is what you use to make Xanax, from China. And it would get shipped from China, hidden in basically printer cartridges, shipped to South Carolina. And then these students would rent beach houses outside Charleston, a different beach house every month. And they had an industrial pill press, and they would press out hundreds of thousands of fake Xanax pills that they themselves made. And then they would heat seal the pills in, you know, chip bags or Skittles bags. So they would empty out a Skittles bag, fill it with Xanax, and then heat seal it. And then they would use the fraternity system and these fraternity pledges, which are kind of the freshmen who have to run lots of errands. They would send these pledges out to colleges all over the South. And doing this, they were able to traffic ultimately millions of pills.
God. So, okay, family, you see me here, you see me trying to process all of this, because typically when we think of college campuses and what takes place as it pertains to fraternities and sororities is hazing. That's the extent of what we think. And no one really knows all of what takes place in hazing. You know, we know there have been some lines crossed. We do know that, but we don't really know. We don't really know, what takes place. But here, what was your first reaction when you learned about the narcotic network?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think like you, I kind of thought, oh, well, nothing can shock me at this point. I've seen it all. And, and I had seen some pretty crazy hazing, personally, I'd seen some pretty crazy hazing. My friends had gone through even crazier hazing. And
Mm.
then in the book, I talked to a student who was waterboarded while he was hazed. So I thought, oh, I've kind of seen it all. But then the more and more I learned about this drug ring, the more my head kind of expanded and exploded,
Right.
because yeah, I mean, it's kind of beyond belief a little bit,
Well, I'm going to ask you, for our family members who are unaware, can you please explain what waterboarding is?
Sure. So, waterboarding is something that the U.S. government got in a lot of trouble for doing during the Iraq War. Basically, you lay someone on their back, you put a towel over their mouth, and you pour water. And it doesn't seem like that would be that bad, but basically, it tricks your body into thinking you're drowning, and so you
Mhm.
start to have these convulsions. And even some of the people who planned the 9/11 attack, they got waterboarded, and they could only last like 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So it really is, it's torture. But yeah, I talked to an SAE at the College of Charleston who got waterboarded, and kind of said it was torture. It was the worst thing he ever went through, but also he was so proud to be an SAE that he would do it again.
Oh my gosh. So now I read that you interviewed over 120 people who were connected
Yeah.
to the case. How easy or difficult was it to get them to participate?
It was really difficult at first.
Mhm.
There's such a closed system. It's kind of what you were saying about, hazing. No one wants to, if you're in this sort of cone of secrecy, you're in the cone of secrecy and you don't share. Um, but I think when people learned that I was also from that world, and that I wanted to get the word out about Xanax, and, because all these guys had also lost friends to overdoses,
Mm.
I think that kind of started to open people up. And then, honestly, when Sony Pictures optioned the story to be a movie, then all of a sudden everyone wanted to talk because they all wanted to play themselves in the movie, and so that
Oh.
very much changed things. Um, but but yeah, the first really kind of 6 months, I was kind of knocking on a lot of proverbial doors and getting a lot of silence.
I'm sure. I'm sure. We are such a vain society. I can't stand it. I
Yeah,
cannot stand
it
it.
is
Oh my
crazy. I
goodness.
mean, when the second someone hears Hollywood, their whole personality changes.
I mean,
Yeah,
drastically,
yeah,
drastically. Oh
it's
my
funny.
goodness. Miss Julie shares that would be such a difficult book to read. She felt awful when a father sought to call attention to the loss of his son locally from time to time. She said, "We read of those tragedies."
Yeah,
It. So here I am, because I actually went to school for journalism as well. So this is of interest to me because I was planning to be an anchor woman. I was
oh, nice.
planning to do what you did. So I was
Yeah,
planning, and I'm only sharing that just for point of information, family. So so you don't say, okay, Carol's crazy. She likes all of this stuff.
yeah,
Carol just has an interest,
yeah.
quite honestly, and even more of an interest because of what's going on in the world. But Malcolm shares, please be safe, Max. Be
Thank you.
safe. Just be safe. He shares what you're talking about is a military torture tactic.
Yeah,
And Miss Julie shares that she really wants to believe that the fraternity was shut down. That's diabolical. And she follows that by writing that that's not representative of fraternal brotherly love. It's
definitely.
just and Malcolm says there's even a series on Netflix called Dope that talks about the dark web and how
Yeah,
drugs are ordered and made. Okay, so now see, let me write that down, because see, here I am. I'm on my investigative journalist,
once you
So
start, it's hard to stop. Yeah, the questions
really,
just
you
keep
go down the
coming.
rabbit hole. You
Yeah, it's
really go
true.
down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
You do.
yeah, it's crazy.
So, do you believe this to be like a one-time ring college campus incident, or do you believe there to be more, or one of many?
No, I think if anything, it's more of a culture than a single ring. Only a few years after this ring got busted, there was a ring of basically the same size at UNC and Duke, and they were doing all the same things: dark web, ordering things through the mail, using GroupMe, which is a big group text app that the boys in the other ring use, and it was all through the fraternities. So really, kind of the same thing. Um, and even of the guys in Charleston, there were dozens and dozens who were doing this, ordering on the dark web and selling Xanax. 8 were arrested and only 1 is still in jail. So it's kind of whack-a-mole in terms of trying to get the people involved. But I would say most of them never got in trouble.
Yeah, because I'm listening to you share this. After the arrests were made, a lot of the boys were, well, I'm thinking because it could not have just have been the boys that were involved, which speaks volumes, talking about how there was only one person that was arrested, and the fraternities were allowed to come back.
Yeah.
W-
And then you also, in the comment about fraternal love, all these guys had made an oath to each other. And then when the arrests started, basically immediately they all started wearing wires on each other and kind of flipping on each other. And the one boy who was in jail is in jail. He was never caught with any drugs, but his best friend, who was president of the fraternity, wore a wire on him and basically got him to talk about their drug dealing together. And, betrayed his best friend, and the best friend went to jail, and the guy who wore the wire got a much more sort of lenient sentence. So a lot of those principles of fraternal love were really tested and sadly didn't really uphold, and it's a tragic story in that way.
This is all a tragedy.
Yeah.
So how were you able to find out about the murder that took place?
So the murder got some media attention at the time because it was the son of a pretty prominent real estate developer, and his mom had run for Congress and was on the school board in Charleston. So it was kind of a big Charleston family. What I didn't realize until I started investigating was the extent to which basically the boy who was murdered, Patrick Moffley, he was part of this drug ring. He was someone who would wear a Tyvek suit, like, a hazmat kind of suit.
Sure.
And he would empty out the Skittles bags and put pills in them for this drug ring. And then he got arrested with some cocaine, and people were afraid he was going to flip. And maybe that's why he died. People still don't know. But ultimately, when they found his body surrounded by all these pills, that's how the FBI got involved. That's how the DEA got involved. The U.S. Postal Service got involved. Something I learned while doing this book is a DEA agent told me that the Postal Service is the biggest drug trafficker in the world. People ship pills and money using the Postal Service every day. And so, it was really the murder that led the police to sort of find all this to begin with.
Wow. Family, I've been so carried away. Welcome. If you've just joined us, if you have just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are talking with Max Marshall. He is the author of the book titled Among the Bros, a fraternity crime story. Now, what I've not yet asked you, Max, is to tell us how we can purchase your book, where we can find it. So I'm going to ask you that before we go to commercial break. I'm going to ask you again before you leave us, but if you would share that information with us now, before we go to commercial, would you tell us from where we can?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can get it at Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get the audiobook on Audible, also on Spotify. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it wherever books are sold. But if you just Google Among the Bros book, you'll be able to find it.
Family, so you know where to find it. And Max is going to tell us again a little later when we come back from commercial break. It's time for us to take just a short commercial break, but know that you are always invited to join the conversation. You can do so by giving us a call. And you can also share a comment on our socials, and I promise I will do my best to read it aloud. Smitty is checking in saying, hello, everyone. Eric shares that it sounds like you received more misery and persecution than the actual perpetrators. That sounds about right to me too. Heather Wilson is joining us, and she shares, hello, Word family. When we come back from commercial break, family, we're going to go to our phone lines first and find out more about all of this interesting experience that Max is sharing. So family, stay with us because we'll be right back.
Here's what you missed on Wake Up with Word.
The mayor of the city of Philadelphia is on the line. Sherelle Parker Happy New Year's and congratulations. We know that you were out at the Fillmore last night and had your inauguration yesterday. And so we've been talking over the last couple of days about your historic election. And so what do you want the listeners here, the super voters here at WURD to know?
WURD listeners, you are ambassadors. You're to hold me accountable. You're to hold the Parker administration accountable. But I need you to push back on any negative talks or thinking or quite frankly, organized campaigns that are activated to say, this is what's not happening. And some people are not going to be happy with some of the decisions that we ultimately make. And I get that. And I expect them to express how they feel, but I'm not going to be afraid to do it. I made promises. I'm going to stand tall and get it done.
Tune in to Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media.
Only 1 in 5 people with disabilities, including those with autism, are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do?
Okay, try me.
What about a programmer?
That is a job for someone with autism.
What about a teacher?
That is a job for someone with autism.
Oh, how about a healthcare worker?
Yes, those are all jobs for someone with autism. The truth is, qualified people with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas and beliefs. Businesses value diversity, but sometimes don't recognize the unique strengths and abilities of the autism community. Introducing WIN, the Workplace Inclusion Now program by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
Ooh, what about a ranch hand?
Yeah! Sure, that's a job for someone with autism too. To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win. That's autismspeaks.org/win.
Want to be heard on WURD?
Yes, this is Miss Renee King out of Philadelphia.
Dial 215-634-8065 to join the conversation. Outside of Philly, dial 1-866-361-0900. First-time caller? Great. We would love to hear from you. WURD is the voice of the African American community, so make yours heard. Please limit calls to once per day. Spread the word and tell a friend to tune in and join the conversation. We're celebrating Black influence and Black excellence worldwide on the home of progressive Black Talk Media, WURD.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life right here on WURD. We are talking with Max Marshall. He is the author of the book titled Among the Bros, a fraternity crime story. Well, he has shared a lot. As promised, I shared before the commercial break that we would go to our phone lines when we return. So we're going to do just that. We have Rick from Germany joining us on line 1. Hi, Rick, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to the both of you.
Thank you.
I haven't heard of your book, but I will investigate and check my local bookstore. Half the story of what was done to Hitler and the Nazis in Europe has never been told. The rise of psychology and psychiatry in Austria and Bavaria, Germany. What did you find of wealthy white men in relation to these fraternity brothers?
So just to understand the question you're asking, were these fraternity brothers wealthy white men?
No, were they misused by wealthy white men?
Oh, interesting. Well, there's this entire sort of fraternal network of often wealthy, almost always white, and certainly always men in these fraternities. And yeah, it goes back generations. So it really is from boys to men. The members are 18 to 22, but then there's Father's Weekend, and they'll come in and barbecue, and then there's the sort of older alumni who come in, and you can look at, for instance, the KA College of Charleston chapter, and you can look at the photos from 1903, and you can look at the photos from 2016, and you see the same haircuts, the same racial makeup, kids from the exact same kinds of families. So it really is this sort of this lineage that goes back a very, very long time.
I'll listen further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick, for calling in. We have Ron on line 2. Hi there, Ron. Thank you for calling, and Happy New Year to you.
Yes, I'll be forever grateful. Let me start off with that. And Max, since you're talking about drugs, my question, I don't mean to sound like an oxymoron in these comments I'm about to make. What do you think about our healthcare drugs in this country under the administrations of President Obama and the administration of President Biden? That's very essential with healthcare. Drugs are very important. That's done for the greater good, not recreation. My question once again to you, as you know, and I want to say this to Mr. Malcolm and all the people that are listening, and going into 2024, in the medical institutions, that we're going to see a great spike, and where people are constantly going there in our medical centers looking for help for different ailments. And of course, the drugs have a lot to do with that. I am saying this, I certainly hope that you guys will go take your tests with your primary person, and to make sure get your blood tested, because they can, catch and do different things and can help you. So when I talk about drugs, sir, as I speak about, I've been very fortunate not to have to use a lot of them for myself, but other people certainly with the condition that they have need these drugs. And so what I am saying to you, sir, what do you think about our medical center? And I want to say something, I'll be forever grateful. The other day, it's been about maybe 3 weeks or more, I got out of the hospital, and I got pretty good health care. My health is pretty good, sir. But what someone has given me that is more powerful than any drugs. And I'll be forever grateful. I know I'm not trying to talk like Batman or Robin. I'll be forever grateful for someone to be so thoughtful and so mindful to even make a recommendation to try to help me. It have already helped me, sir. And I know you don't know specifically what I'm saying, but to the receiver that is hearing this, every time that I begin to make progress along with other people, that person will always be remembered to help me walk. So my cup runneth over, and I know that you're bringing these stories out. But we have to look at where we're at today, sir, in the world. Look at the hospitals that's being bombed and all these, things over there, the situation over there. This is where they need drugs over there to help those children and people like that. So it's good to hear your story, sir. Good to hear your story. As a reminder, look where we have come from. My question to you, when you write a book on, even our country are faced with difficult times, and they're going to come. If we go back to the 7 seals, and we see that, what would you what recommendation would you make to the system to try to give us much better health care, sir? And you don't have to answer this as I get off. When we have other persons in this wonderful country that we're in, with obstacles, sir, to make sure that we can maintain health care for everyone, the seniors and all. And one other thing, sir, we're very fortunate if you have a family member or someone that's not a family member that will care to look out for those people. So my cup runneth over. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad that you got some help, and certainly I think our healthcare system is one of the 2 or 3 sort of things in America that needs the most overhaul, that needs the most help, that needs the most sort of thoughtful change. Um, and there's obviously a million ways you can look at it, whether it's, veterans health or the uninsured or just the rising cost of prescription pills and care, testing. There's so much, but I do think in terms of this book, something I spend a lot of time thinking about is, just the amount of very addictive pharmaceuticals that are prescribed, and just people end up with really bad dependencies. And I saw that with Xanax. Xanax has actually it's never been shown to help daily anxiety. It's very effective for panic attacks, but if you are someone who just has anxiety generally, it doesn't actually help. You feel better for the day, and then you wake up the next morning with worse anxiety than you had before. And so, similar to opiates, it feels like something that really shouldn't be prescribed that often and has a very specific use, but it ends up getting prescribed for all sorts of problems and ultimately gets a lot of people addicted and dependent on these drugs. And of course, the pharmaceutical companies make a lot of money off that, but there's so much suffering involved. And that's just, it's really something that we need to figure out as a society, because it's, you'd be hard pressed to find someone besides a pharmaceutical rep who's happy with the healthcare system in America.
How about that? How about that? Ron, thank you. Rick, thank you. Max, thank you. I do have another question for you, one more question for you. And you mentioned about the firearm that you found. How were you able to find firearms? How did you come across the firearms? I'm just curious to know.
I didn't find the firearms myself. I found a police report that they had found the firearms.
Okay.
But a lot of these guys did buy, everything from pistols to assault rifles, and some of them would have them in sort of gun vaults in their dorms. Some of them would just keep them under their bed. One guy had a storage locker at a facility sort of on the other side of the river where he kept the pills and also the assault rifle with a grenade launcher. But the funny thing is, it's not impossible to find a grenade launcher. It's almost impossible to find grenades. And so it was almost more like something for photos, than it was something for actual warfare. And also kind of tells you a little bit about, these guys, I think.
Malcolm shares that he can speak a little about the postal service. Sometimes we would spot suspicious packages and put them in a separate bin for the inspectors labeled target mail. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense to me. But I'm curious to know the process. And then what? What happens after it's labeled target mail? What happens then? What's the next step in that?
Definitely, and it's fascinating because there's just so much mail going through the system every day, as Malcolm knows, better than you or me even. But you just think of how much mail there is every day. Like, how could they ever hope to check everything, or even to look at everything and know what does suspicious mail look like? If it's just a package, it could have anything from a DVD to, because these guys they would hide Xanax pills inside DVD cases. And so if you saw, a DVD case, why would you ever think to open it, kind of thing? And
it's so interesting to me that if it sounds like the network was so large.
Yeah.
The network of individuals, that is.
Yeah.
It amazes me that they hid anything, that they attempted to hide anything, I'll say, because you're talking about students, you're talking about city officials, and you're talking about judges and all kinds of things. And it just, family, I get, when I can't speak, I'm totally beyond what I'm listening to, what I'm digesting and processing. So while I'm digesting and processing, Max, can you tell us one more time where we can find your book? And do you have a website?
Sure. So the book's called Among the Bros, a Fraternity Crime Story. If you just Google Among the Bros, you'll find it. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Borders, local bookstores, Audible, Kindle, kind of wherever you can find books. And then you can find my website. It's max-marshall.com, and my email's on there. Feel free to reach out with any kind of questions or comments or anything. And would love to hear from you.
I just can't thank you enough for coming to spend some time with us. I'm worried about you, Max. Listen, I am, because this is a lot. And the fact that, legal action wasn't taken for a lot of these individuals, and in the majority of these situations, it lets us know that, it is still ongoing and it has probably grown. I think it might be safe to believe that it has probably grown and it's still going on. So just be careful, Max. Be careful. Please be careful.
Yeah.
Oh, family. Hi there. Hey there. Hey there. Welcome. If you just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life. We've been talking with Max Marshall in this hour, and he's the author of the book titled Among the Bros, a Fraternity crime story. He shared with us his website, which is Marshall.com. Family, it's time for us to take a commercial break and to let Max go. Max, you're welcome to hang out if you'd like. We're going to have an open forum in the next hour, but if not, if you have to go, we understand that too. So we are just grateful that you stopped by. Family, know that the phone lines are still open, and feel free to comment on our socials. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
It's the WURD Hot 60. Hot 60. Here's the hottest 60 seconds you missed this week on Reality Check.
LaToya Shambo, she is the founder of Black Girl Digital. Does age become a barrier when it comes to becoming a creator?
Absolutely not. This is the beauty of the social web. It's anyone can succeed in the space of becoming an influencer. Anyone can be a content creator. When you become an influencer, once you start executing partnerships, right? You can be a person of influence at any level, in any industry, in any category. It's just up to you of how you want to show up and build community around your influence, right? I don't think that there is an age. I absolutely think that Black women and men over, any age, 45, 35, anyone can start today and say, you know what, I want to specialize in this and build a community around X and start getting brand deals from it.
And that's your hottest 60 seconds this week from Reality Check on WURD Progressive Black Talk Media.
Tune in to EcoWord Magazine, hosted by POC, the first Friday at 11 a.m. for the PA Lottery EcoWord Tip of the Day. Brought to you by PA Lottery, benefiting older Pennsylvanians every day.
Oftentimes, the wheelchairs our veterans and first responders receive from their healthcare providers are subpar at best. Some are falling apart, with a years-long waiting list for a new one. This lag causes a tremendous amount of stress for our heroes and creates a burden for their caregivers. Isolation leads to depression. We build what they need to get outdoors, hunting, fishing, or playing sports. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are the home of progressive Black Talk Media. This is WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM, Philadelphia. Streaming online on wordradio.com and the Word Radio app.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome back. Welcome back to the top of the second hour of Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. So that was a conversation, wasn't it? I mean, you know, it's so interesting to me that we talk about everything taking place in the world, but you know, when we talk about what's going on in our very own city, because it's right in front of us, you know, the dynamics of it feel so much more powerful. And then you hear stories like this and you realize that everybody's got something going on. Every city, every state, every little town about which we are unaware, everybody has something going on. And this, it's just, oh my goodness, it breaks my heart though. All of it does. All of it does. You hear me say that to you. You all know how sensitive I am and how things affect me. But all of it does. It's just so much to process. So much. And you know that the sad thing about it, family, is that we talk about this stuff and it's always so much negativity to process. Why can't it be the other way around? Why can't it be that we have a lot of positivity that we are living in? You know, and I know that there is a lot of positivity out here. We just don't hear about it as much. We hear about all this negativity. But so here we are. We say thank you to Max. Max said he had to go because his wife had prepared dinner and she was waiting for him so they could have dinner. And I said, you absolutely have to go have dinner. So I told her that we thank her for lending him to us in this hour, in that hour. As a matter of fact. So this hour, I want to know what's going on with you, what's happening with you, for you, and yours. You know, I like to have an open forum every now and again. I want to know what you want to talk about. Now, you know, I chose some things to discuss. You know, I did. But I want to know what you want to talk about. I want to know what's on your mind, what's on your heart. I want to know what you want to share, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to know. Because that's what we do right here on Love and Life. We talk about all that stuff. So I want to do that. So know that the phone lines are open. Feel free to give us a call at 215-634-8065. Call us toll free at 1-866-361-0900. That's about whatever topic you want to discuss. I'm opening the gates. Let's talk about it. I will say this. I do want to go back to a few things that were mentioned. Now, Malcolm, I believe it was you, Malcolm, that you said you talked about the Postal Service. I really do want to know. You shared that sometimes you would spot suspicious packages and you would put them in a separate bin for the inspectors. And they were labeled target mail. And then Ms. Julie, she shared that she's a retired government employee and she can factually state that they received suspicious mail. And there was total chaos when Donald Trump was in office. She shared that his changing the postmaster and the rhetoric of reform, his appointment of Louis DeJoy as postmaster general. She also shares Lord heal us as we get through recovery post Donald Trump, a presidency so tragic on so many levels. I really do want to know about that process. I'm interested. So when a piece of mail is labeled as target mail, what happens after that? Where does it go? Or what's the process? Somebody help me with that, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, I would really like to know. So I did share with you earlier, Nasir was talking about getting ready for this storm that we were expecting in Philadelphia. We don't know how much snow to expect, but they're saying we could potentially get a lot of snow. Y'all, I'm not ready. I am so in denial. When I tell you I am so in denial, okay? I literally just pulled my winter coat out last night because I'm so in denial. But they're sharing that we should expect a significant winter storm. They're saying it's probable, but it's possible for this weekend on Sunday. I'm not ready. I am not ready. And I'm asking for recipes. I'm a soup person. I like soups and stews. So if you have a good recipe that you like or one of your favorites, share it with me because I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. You can email it to me if you care to share. Now, I know how some of us are. I know, family. Some say, I'm not giving my recipe to you. I'm not. But if you don't mind sharing it, I wouldn't mind trying it. And you can email it to me. You can email it to me at loveandlife@wordradio.com. That's not the ampersand. That's the word, loveandlife@wordradio.com. I'll leave that up there, the email for you. So those of you who are watching can see that. I'm going to take a moment to go to our phone lines. We have Miss Audrey calling in on line 1. Hi, Miss Audrey. Happy New Year to you, and thank you for calling.
Happy New Year, Carol. Peace, love, and prosperity in the new year. And I trust that we all can have happiness as well going into the future of this new day that we've come to. Blessed to say. So, Carol, in answer to your question regarding suspicious mail, I have revealed myself more than once. I am Julie Audrey or Carnegie, and it's just the preference of mine to be called Audrey. So anyhow, when mail would be coming into our central location, one, the managers would have to be aware which post office was it coming from. And I can honestly state on record, and it's been recorded in media as well, that the night shift, we mostly got our memo late. So we mostly relied on those who were on the day shift to apprise us on what was going on. Now, what is also awful is regarding anthrax. Now, when I looked at anthrax up, that is a drug that they still don't know a lot about. Mm-hmm. If you have any symptoms from it, if you have any, this wasn't happening before that time, my body is going through a situation I don't understand, there's no cure. So that is as diabolical as your guest was speaking of, Max Marshall, where he said that there was these teams of fraternities that came up with these diabolical ways of saying, this is part of you becoming united with us. Really? No, it's very scary and frightening to settle down when you get to work and someone says, we've had a problem with the mail. And then as if that's not enough, as you're opening the mail and you're going through the mail, you're still wondering, well, did they catch it all? So, yeah, it's a very scary thing.
When he was sharing that about the postal system, and then it makes so much sense because so much comes through the post office. And I was thinking it's impossible to catch everything. I realize that. I do realize that. And that's a huge task. So I do realize that, but just the target mail. So when the mail will come in and it's labeled target mail, there's a whole nother process of like, how does that, because you can't.
That's the part that I cannot speak of because
Okay.
as I mentioned now, Marcus is his name. He can speak better of that, having worked in the post office. What I can say is that they would have teams of managers and whom all else was involved. I don't know. Security detail, I would presume, was involved with that as well. What we did get was the word, and sometimes the word was not always on time for those who worked on a day shift.
Thank you for that, Miss
So,
Audrey.
so when they did this, you're welcome. So then, when Mr. Donald Trump was in office and he changed the inspector, what is his postmaster general, that was pretty more difficult on the post office because I can say because I did have. And still do have a P.O. box. I went all over Center City looking for where did they redirect my mail.
Oh, wow. So,
And then too, there are a lot of people retired. And when people have retired and we're waiting for the process of the retirement to go through, if there's been any change of what was a consistency for you and so far, we'll take it from the top of my paycheck and, give me the difference of it. And you're still seeing it taken from your paycheck, but they've changed over to a different handler that made it even worse. So somewhere in here, I strongly believe that they have not gotten to the gut-wrenching effect that Donald Trump is costing us effectively as far as this needs to be reviewed on top of the review, on top of the way that it was reviewed and everything to go with that. We've been in a hardship due to it. And that's a fact.
we're still trying to recover.
And we're still trying to recover.
Mm.
All right.
God help us. God help
Take a
us.
deep
God help
breath.
us.
We'll get through this too. I do believe.
I'm praying on that, Miss Audrey. I am praying. I'm praying. And I won't stop praying for that. I won't stop. Family, hey there. Thank you, Miss Audrey, as always.
You're welcome.
As always. Family, those of you who have just joined us, welcome. You're tuned in to Love and Life. And in this hour, we're having an open forum. I'm inviting you, as always, though, to the conversation. But tonight, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you want to talk about. I did share that I did choose some topics to discuss, but I want to know what you think, what you're thinking, how you're feeling these days, and what's on your mind, what's on your heart. Share it with me, please. And so Malcolm says, in response to my question, millions of pieces get processed daily. The postal inspectors were on another level. All I know is that they may have x-rayed some packages or letters. That was way above his pay grade, he shares. I overstand. I definitely overstand that. But I thank you so much for responding. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Miss Audrey. Always, always, always. And Cheryl was saying to me, in response to my challenge with this snow, this expected snow or storm that they're saying we're going to get, she shares, no, but Carol, the snow is not going to last long. The rain is going to come and wash it away. But they're saying it's this storm. I don't know. We don't know, Cheryl. But in the event we get any sort of a storm, I want some recipes, y'all. I want some good recipes, some soups, some stews, some chilies. I want all of that. I'm a huge soup girl. I'm a soup girl, and I love soup. So, like I was sharing, I chose some topics, and I want to talk about some things. So I read. Where was it? Where was this story that I want to share with you? Oh, here we are. Philadelphia students tackle mental health with free online app and help from Eagles player Lane Johnson. The article reads, they introduced a new online multi-platform tool called Kooth, which offers students in the district free mental health resources, including counseling, journaling, and a message board for students to communicate with each other anonymously about their mental health challenges. Dr. Jamie Banks, the school district's deputy chief of prevention, intervention, and trauma, says it's working. Okay. I'm just going to share my thought about this. I do applaud the effort to help our babies with mental health, but this is a huge but for me. This initiative scares me, and I'll tell you why. Now, I shared with you all a few months ago about artificial intelligence, about the AI component that is being added to. I think it was Google that I shared. They're equipped. They're making Google equipped with an AI component to serve as a mental health expert. And it has been stated that there's an anticipation that the mental health profession will be done away with after some time. Now, well, certain aspects, I will say that, not the whole profession as a whole, but the anticipation is that human mental health experts won't be needed, won't be necessary, because we will have this AI component as our help. Now, I want to know why there can't be a portal that exists for students to access, to share, download, journal, that basically serves as the same purpose, but is monitored by a human mental health expert. I feel that we are trying so hard to get away from the human condition. And that makes no sense to me. It scares the crap out of me, but and the fact that they're starting this with our students, with our babies, because you're not starting it with, with us. They're working on it. They're working on it, but they're starting it with the babies. So y'all help me with this. Help me with this. We've had a few conversations about artificial intelligence. We've had some. I have the understanding that in some instances AI can be helpful, but this right here, mm-mm, I don't agree with this at all. Why do we place so little value on the human condition? Why? Why? We talk about mental health, but now we're suggesting that we rely on artificial intelligence to help us with our mental health. Help me, y'all. Help me. Talk with me about this. Help me understand. Nick, I'm coming to you. I always do, because I always want you to join the conversation. But do you remember when we shared that story about artificial intelligence? And I think I am almost certain, which is why I keep stating Google, because they were adding a component. They're working on a component.
Yeah, I believe that. Well, I mean, we've had a couple different discussions about AI. We've had, I think, maybe either 2 or 3 different people come in and speak about different aspects of it.
Mhm.
We didn't talk about it. I don't remember talking about it as it pertains to mental health.
Oh yeah.
But so maybe perhaps I wasn't there for that one, but we have had different people talk about AI.
So they were talking about AI, but this was a story that I shared in one of our open forums. I was sharing it from a news article that I'd read, and I was sharing that with our family members. So we didn't talk about it with any of our guests that came. When they came on, they were talking about AI. They were talking about Chat GPT, something that I still don't understand, and now the list is growing with everything else. But this scares me. It disturbs me more than anything, but it scares me too, because I just feel like we are trying so hard to get away from the human condition. What about talking? What about working through? What about praying? What about like so many ideals and principles are being done away with. So now here we will go to a machine to tell us how to manage our mental health. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Well, I have to say, Carol, I do think first of all, I certainly understand your skepticism and uneasiness to it, because it feels robotic, and that's because that's what it is.
Mhm.
Though I'll say this, I think that I like the idea of starting with high schoolers or people in school,
Mhm.
because if they wanted to do this with adults, they would probably charge them money for it.
Oh.
They would charge them money as if they were going to some kind of real therapist or something like that. And I think it's okay to kind of test this out with the kids, because we understand that kids middle school through high school and sometimes, even past that, they're the ones who are the most subject to these kinds of feelings and depression and kind of feeling like they're the other. It's just kind of natural as it pertains to growing up. And so I
Mhm.
think having a tool that can identify, oh, this is what's wrong with me. And other people have had this, other people have gone through this issue. I think that that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Also, just because imagine if we can get this on an app for every kid across the US. That's an app that they can download. They don't need to worry about, well, do I have the money or does the school have the extra funds to allocate somebody to speak to me? If my parents can't afford the medication or if they can't afford to have somebody come and talk to me, what does that mean? So I like that it's accessible. I think that's
I
the key
like
thing
that.
here.
See,
Yeah.
now I love that it is accessible. I do not like that it will be manned by machinery.
Mm.
I would feel more comfortable, like I was saying, if there was a human on the other side of it that was helping a teenager through these crises. I would feel more comfortable with that. And not that they have to speak directly, because I imagine that's part of the consideration. Our teenagers don't want to talk with someone directly. But
Mhm.
the fact that they could enter their information into the app and that there would be a human on the other side to help them navigate, I would feel more comfortable with that as opposed to a machine. We talk every week with Dr. Z. We talk with her about the different conditions, the different challenges that we all face. And I find it even more challenging and difficult to accept that a machine is going to help a human being. Um, just, number one, diagnose and navigate what that human being is dealing with and going through and is struggling with. I do want to continue this conversation though, but family, I'm looking at the time. It's time for us to go to commercial. So please stay with us because we're coming right back.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted. The only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-932-1745. 800-932-1745. 800-932-1745. That's 800-932-1745.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Reading is fundamental. The nation's leading children's literacy organization invites you to rally to read. Visit rallytoread.org and help your child pledge to read 100 books by National Reading Month in March. Watch popular authors, read favorite books, find activities to keep young readers engaged, and teachers can enter the Rally to Read sweepstakes for a chance to win 100 books for their school, subject to rules. Inspire the joy of reading today. Visit rallytoread.org.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. I've shared that in this hour on tonight, we are having an open forum. And I've got some topics to discuss, but I want to know what you want to talk about. I'm anxious to know what's in your heart, what's on your heart, what you're thinking, and what you are feeling. I did, however, introduce an article that I read about artificial intelligence and about an app that's being introduced for our teenagers, our high schoolers. So if you'd like to comment about that, feel free. But if not, feel free to share whatever is on your heart. I'm going to go to the phone lines. Gary is calling. Gary, hi there. Happy New Year, and thank you so much for calling.
Yes. Happy New Year to you also. You know, I was, Carol, I'm listening to the discussion, and I'm not really a big advocate. Artificial intelligence, just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Artificial intelligence. That says enough to me right there.
Me too.
Okay, because guess what? Who programs all these computers? It's a human being that does all that. So now, when things go down, they can blame the computer. There's no sensitivity to people's situations or their conditions, and we're feeding right into it. We're in a dangerous, in my opinion, we're in a dangerous time right now.
We are.
It's very scary that a computer can control things or make decisions on people's lives. Didn't that computer have to be programmed by someone?
Yes, it does. But you know what? I feel the same way. But here's the other component. The other part of that is that they've been experimenting with AI for a while now. And we've got computers that are creating other computers. So that part, in addition to the fact that it is artificial intelligence, that part, that these computers are doing what they will, they're doing what they want.
Yes.
But, that I do not feel comfortable with that at all.
But guess what, Carol? Who's programming them? I mean, there's a method to the madness now. They're programming these computers to do what they do, and we're behind the eight ball. We're not in tune with what's really taking place. This is very detrimental for human society, for real. And you got the people at the high end who have all the money and make all these decisions and so-called run the world. They know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
They're playing chess and we're playing checkers. And they distract us. I want to say this. They distract us with sports, entertainment, and everything else. And I'm not trying to come down on that. I'm just saying we better wake up like yesterday, or it's going to be, it's detrimental. It's crazy out here now.
Yeah, we're here. We're there.
We
are there.
We got to hold people accountable. We got to get away from all the entertainment. And all, what I mean by that is, that's fine. We need relaxation. But right now, we're in crisis. I don't understand why people don't get it. I just talked to a couple of my friends that we have group calls sometimes, a couple of my buddies, church members, and we talk about these things, man. It's like, why don't we see what's going on? Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles could see this. But anyway, I don't want to keep ranting, but thank you for letting me speak, Carol.
No, you're not ranting at all. I welcome the conversation. I do. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, family, it bothers me. It disturbs me greatly. It really, really does. And to Gary's point, when you talk about, artificial intelligence, that says it all for me as well. And I was sharing, coupled with the fact that we're in a day and age where computers are creating on their own. So what happens when they go beyond the programming? What happens when the computers begin to go beyond the programming? Because they're already doing that. They're already doing that in these experiments that are taking place. So I definitely want that conversation to continue, because I want to know what you think and how you feel. But I also want to share that some more of our family members are checking in. Hi there, Aaron. Aaron Dixon, that is sharing a hello with everybody. Family, I did tell you that, here we are. We're in burr season. I want some recipes now. Y'all help me out. I want some recipes of some soups, some chilies, some stews. It's just some good stick to your food for the winter. Yes, I do. I want it all. And Malcolm shares, that's right. Split pea with ham or New England clam chowder or a good beef stew for the wintertime. Listen, I want all the recipes. I mean, I've got some, but I like trying new recipes or different recipes. Ms. Joanne, hello, beautiful. She shares turkey wings and noodles with mixed vegetables. You know what? That's something I never put noodles in. I normally do turkey wings with red potatoes, and I do kale, and I'll do some carrots in there as well. And that's one of my go-tos. I do that all the time. I am asking you to share what you think and how you feel, and you're doing that, and I love that. Ms. Lily is sharing overutilization of artificial intelligence is a recipe for zombies. I agree. Nearly half of the population is becoming detached from human interaction and becoming electronic attachment humans. Yes, yes, yes. I am in full agreement. Full agreement. And it's always Gary. Gary writes exactly without a doubt. So Eric is sharing that he was recently engaged in a conversation with friends. And in this conversation, they talked about popular Black actresses receiving considerably low amounts of money for their contribution in the TV and movie industry. Taraji, Viola, Monique, many others don't feel that they're getting their worth. Oh, yeah, they state it clearly. They state it. It seems like they get blackballed for not playing ball and wind up getting lowballed. He's curious to know, Nick, what's your opinion? What my opinion is well, and what's your opinion, family? And he's asking, how do these talented women get what's fair and reasonable? You know, that seems to be it's a recurring conversation right now. As a matter of fact, as a result of Taraji speaking out, and you know what's interesting to me, because Monique spoke out, like you mentioned, Viola spoke out, but now that Taraji has spoken out, a lot of other people are speaking out about it and are coming forward and are demanding more. A lot of people of color. I won't just say women of color, because there was a someone else. So a lot of people of color are speaking out about it. So Nick, what are your thoughts? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, family. I think it's age old, this conversation. As a matter of fact, when we just had Anissa Niel Johnson, who was on, she said the same thing. She was talking about the same thing, and that this has been taking place for so long, about how Black actresses are severely underpaid. But what do you think, Nick? What do you think?
Well, I'm not the best person to ask about this because I don't. I watch movies so rarely, but I have heard this argument before. I remember when Monique talked about it, and I think she had received some pushback from other actresses, from other Black actresses at the time. Or maybe it was, I'm not sure who she was getting a lot of pushback from, but I think when she talked about it, she was saying, well, you know, I think she was either critiquing some of the roles or saying that they need to ask for more money or they should turn down certain roles. And I have to agree with that. I feel like it has to be an element of knowing your worth. But the issue is that the way that the movie industry is set up, you're kind of enticed to, you just kind of have to get this go for it mindset, right? Because you don't know if you're ever going to get another opportunity like that again. So if you turn it down, then either you face fear of being typecast or being kind of put in this box. Oh, this person turned this kind of role down, so obviously they're just like this or they're like that. Um, and it's, I think that Hollywood kind of, it doesn't respect actors who don't have or who aren't willing to just do whatever. You know, he's not an act. He's not really an actor, but I'm reminded of Dave Chappelle when he had his Big Chappelle show, and you know, the writers were trying to push him into, oh, for one of your skits, you should wear a dress. And he didn't think it was funny. And since it was his show, he didn't do it. And you know, how that kind of situation had snowballed, and people are trying to say, well, he's crazy because he won't do this. I can't say to how much that speaks to Black women actresses, but yeah, I feel like you kind of, you're forced to play ball. And if you don't, it's detrimental to your career. So, you know, how does an actress, a young actress, an older actress, whoever, how are they able to find their voice and still be kept financially afloat? I really do kind of envy the situation. I know a lot of us who are not at all connected to entertainment, we look at it and we think all these actors get paid this and they get paid that. But it's kind of like with the record industry, you know. You work on these kinds of projects here and there, but it's not like you have money just coming in, residuals coming in over your entire career. You know, it's totally different.
It is. It is. But you know, so a few things that you said, Nick, you were talking about Monique, and I was reading about the comments she made, and the statement was made that it was how she made the comments, and that I believe she attacked certain people, certain other people of color, and that was why she received some pushback about her comments, about her statement, because it wasn't just that, that Black actresses are underpaid, and that was so her point was kind of lost in it because of the presentation. That was what I read, and that was why there was so much attention put on what she said about other individuals, that the point that she was making about Black actresses being underpaid was lost on everybody. So that was what that is. But Viola said it too. I mean, and most recently, quite honestly, just a few months ago, she spoke out about it. But again, like you said, how is one expected to maintain, sustain, survive, eat? And it's not just our Black actresses; it's our Black actors as well. It's racism at its best. It's something with which we are continuing to live, to navigate, and to exist. I don't have the answer. I'm just speaking. I'm just sharing my own point of view. But Eric, to answer your question, how do these talented women get what's fair and reasonable? I don't have the answer to that question. I wish I did. I know standing our ground has been something that we've been doing and we've done for quite some time now. But at what cost? At what cost? And I'm hopeful, though, that because there are more and more prominent Black actresses that are speaking out, that something will change. I'm hopeful. I really am. I'm hopeful. Malcolm shares that racism is one heck of a drug on every level, and it is. And Cheryl Mobley Stimson, hi there, Cheryl, welcome back. She shares, it seems that Black women are still the most disrespected, even across industries. Agreed. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And Gary agrees with you. Yes, it is, good brother. He agrees with you, Nick. So Henry is joining the conversation about artificial intelligence, and he shares that with this artificial intelligence, if it's based on culture that you come from, you won't know of an argument or about getting ready to fight and how to deal with the situation. You won't be equipped, basically. You'll be ill-equipped. Malcolm shares that Monique called out Oprah, Whoopi, and Steve Harvey. Oh, okay, for not backing her up. Okay, I didn't realize that's who it was, but that's what he shares. That Monique, she was calling out Oprah, Whoopi, and Steve Harvey for not backing her up. And again, there was more focus put on that than it was the point she was making about Black actresses not making as much as our counterparts. Excuse me. Eric shares good points, Nick and Carol, but let me ask this to the entire family. If Joan Collins decided to join Empire versus Taraji P. Henson, who would have had the bigger check? Is it popularity, color, your previous movie track record? Well, you already know how that goes. Like, I think it was Taraji who spoke about having done Benjamin Button, and she was sharing about how much more money Brad Pitt made and Kate Blanchett. And she was talking about how little she made in that movie. And you know how that goes. You know how that goes. They don't bill us the same. We don't measure the same. We're not presented with the same measure. I will say that. Because it's not that our talent lacks. It's not that our gifts lack. We are not billed the same. We're not presented the same. We're not measured the same. And that is across the board. Look, we just talked about a whole system of corruption, So family, hey there. We are talking about everything. You hear me? under both umbrellas of love and life. I want to know what's on your heart. I want to know what you want to talk about. I like to check in every now and again. I'm so grateful for you all helping me through the holidays. I want to check on you too and give you the chance to get some things off of your chest and have the family come to you, pour into you positively, because I so appreciate you all doing so with me. But we do this every now and again. So we're having an open forum in this hour, in the 8 o'clock hour tonight on Wednesday, January 3rd. But right now it's time for us to take just a short commercial break. When we come back, I've got some more articles. Yes, I do. I do. So stay with us because we'll be right back.
Stand with WURD Radio as we continue to provide dynamic, progressive programming to inform and empower our people. We're living in unprecedented times, and we must stand together to protect and preserve Black Talk Media. Become a 4WURD member with the annual membership price of just $90 or a digital member starting at just $5 per month. If you're already a 4WURD member, sign up, family member, or friend to help us continue making history. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today. Visit wordradio.com/4WURD or wordradio.com/membership. This WURD public service announcement is a reminder that every voice and every vote counts. We are committed to keeping you informed, and we encourage you to participate in the process.
In my formative years, my family gathered around the table for evening dinner, and there were few excused absences. The discussions were topical and sometimes frightening to a child in my tender years. Dogs were released on children who were marching in the South for the right of their parents to vote. Later, we gathered around the black and white television and listened to Fannie Lou Hamer at the 1964 Democratic Convention tell the world about Mississippians' right and fight to vote. I saw the tears in my parents' eyes as Miss Hamer described the beating she endured and that of others that were with her for the right to vote. I walked door to door with my mother as she urged our neighbors and community members to register to vote and to march in solidarity with our brothers and sisters struggling for their rights in America's South. Today, like Fannie Lou Hamer, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Vote like your life depends on it, because it actually does.
This PSA is a part of Every Voice, Every Vote, a collaborative project of the Lenfest Institute for Journalism, with lead support provided by the William Penn Foundation. Learn more at www.everyvoice-everyvote.org. Editorial content is created independently of the project's donors.
I need a tax preparer. How should I choose one?
Using a paid tax preparer this year? Before paying someone to do your taxes, make sure they're qualified. Ask about their fees, experience, and training. Check with a Better Business Bureau. Avoid anyone who promises a higher refund. And review your tax return before you sign it. And make sure your preparer signs it too. For more tips, visit irs.gov and search Choosing a Preparer.
What is love?
You're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
I think I know what love is.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life with yours truly, Carol Riddick, right here on WURD. We are talking in this hour about life. We're talking about everything under the umbrella of life. I shared a few topics and invited you to join the conversation. And I also invited you to share topics of your own that we could discuss. Eric shared in response to what we're talking about, that dynamic is just sad and wrong. We can contribute our unique, universal, ethnic, singing and acting skills, but get used and exploited in doing so. We do. We have been for, how long? How long? Oh my goodness. Did you, wait, I think the biggest example of that, did you see the Elvis movie? Did you see that? I mean, don't misunderstand me. It was a good movie. But did you see that? You know, we talk so much. And this, I am in no way judging. I want to be clear when I say that. This is for the purpose of just discussion. I enjoy having discussions with you all, but I do, when I'm judging, and I try my best not to do so. But you will know. But when you see the movie, Elvis, Elvis built a whole career of us, off of Black people and our music and our lifestyles and our magic, if you will. And I'm not saying anything that you have not witnessed, anything about which you are not aware, anything that you can't see by looking. He built an entire career. So yes, we get used and exploited in all facets of culture and entertainment. And it is sad, but it is our reality. Now, where we go from here, how we change that, that's the question. How we change that, that's the question. When you were talking about how these actresses and actors get their just due, how do they get what's fair and reasonable? That is the question. What would change that? What can change that? What would it take to change that across the board? That's in every aspect. What would it take? And Cheryl shares that she's in agreement. The mindset of others devalues Black women. Yes. And quite honestly, we're not doing. I really wish we would come together and we would be more like-minded on the positive side. But I'm waiting for that, and I am continuing to pray on it and pray for it. One other thing I want to talk with you about in these last few moments. Now, family, there's a lot going on with these viruses and flus and illnesses and all kinds of stuff out here. Please be careful. Please be careful. Now listen, I have bags of masks in my house. I'm out here wearing masks when I go out. And I'm telling you, because if you see me and I have my mask on and I'm saying, I'm just trying to be extra careful, I don't want you to get mad at me. And if you do, I'm just going to have to love you from afar. But I still love you. But please, I'm saying this to be careful. Be careful, because here we are. The Philadelphia Department of Public Health issued a warning on Saturday about possible exposure to the measles virus for some city residents. So here's this one, measles. So I'm asking you to be careful about that. Now, I'm not saying a mask can help you with that, but I am asking you to be careful. I did start with that. So there's a notification of a possible exposure to measles. And this other article that I read today, Mainline Health to require face masks at all locations for at least the next 2 weeks. This article reads that Mainline Health, with hospitals and other medical facilities across several southeastern Pennsylvania counties, has announced a temporary return to masking because of what it says is a significant increase in COVID-19, flu, and RSV cases. Okay. So I am asking you to be careful out here. Please, family, be careful out here. Okay. I am going to go to our phone lines. We have one of our family members waiting to join the conversation. James is on line 1. Happy New Year to you, and thank you so much for calling.
Happy New Year's also. Good evening, family.
Good evening.
As far as the face mask, I understand where you're coming from. Let's take action on it. Let's do what we have to do. And I would also like to say that as far as Black women, from the immortal words of Big Gregory, y'all are the strongest beings on the planet, strong enough to cut a tire with a butter knife. That's a lot of strength.
It is. It is, James. And listen, I don't doubt it. You didn't see me say anything. I know my mother could. I know she could.
No doubt. No doubt. Peace and love.
They always.
I love this station.
You know, it's all love here at WURD. It's all love here. James, thank you for that. I'm going to have to put that in my pocket, though. What did you say? A black woman could cut a tire with a butter knife. I'm putting that in my pocket, James. I am. Well, thank you so much for calling. Thank you. Nick, you were sharing something with me. You said that a caller had a comment and wanted to contribute to the conversation. Another caller.
Yeah, they didn't want to get on the air, but they just wanted me to relay that, you know, as it pertains to black actresses, and if we really want to see a real change in that field or anywhere in entertainment as it pertains to our black stars, that what we really should be trying to do is trying to elevate one another by creating our own industries outside of the European controlled media. Because really, if we want other people to value us the way that we think we should be valued, who better than our own people, you know? And there's something to be said about, desegregation is a great thing, but trying to integrate into these systems where we weren't designed to prosper in, it's almost futile. That's what he's trying to relay. But I have to agree, it's nobody else is going to do it but us. So how much longer are we going to wait around for them to go, "Oh, okay, you know what, never mind, we were wrong, you guys are pretty good"? Like, we don't need to prove that to anybody, because we already know that we can do it.
I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said. Quite honestly, we are the model. I agree. I just wish more of us would be in agreement and would take action. But I am in full agreement, and that's across the board. That is truly across the board. Yeah, listen, y'all, family, you know I love us. I love everybody, but I love us. I have so much love for us. I really, really, really do. Miss Lily is sharing that she too agrees with the caller who left the message with you, Nick. I agree wholeheartedly. I wish you had said it on the air. I wish you had. But I'm grateful for the message. At its core, I'm grateful for the message. And also to you, Brother James, thank you so much. I'm telling you, I'm putting that in my pocket, that a black woman could cut a tire with a butter knife. Yes, yes, yes. I know my mother could. Okay. I know she could. I aspire. But family, I'm always so grateful for you for joining the conversation. And I'm always grateful to know what's on your heart, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. And Nick, I always am grateful when you join the conversation. I'm always glad that you do. Here we are, Wednesday, January 3rd. I'm praying for you. Yes, I am. I'm praying that you all are having a great start to this year, a great start to this new beginning, and that you're just making it on your own terms. You're making it on, and that they're good terms. You hear me? That's what I wish for you. I wish for you happiness, health, safety, prosperity, and love. Love. So family, here we are just coming to the end of another episode of Love and Life. I'm so grateful for Max Marshall, for joining us in our first hour. I am definitely going to get his book. As soon as we get off the air, I'm going to order it. But I'm grateful to him. Max, I'm going to keep you in my prayers, because that's just so dangerous. But we do appreciate you and we applaud you. Nick, thank you for joining the conversation. Family, thank you. As always, oh my goodness, I just cannot thank you enough for your love and for your continued support of Love and Life. Just thank you for sharing your time, your energy, your space, your knowledge, your spirit, your attention, your intention, family, because that means so much to me. It really does. It does. To the entire WURD family, especially Niall, Jax, and Nick Steptoe, thank you. As always, family, remember that we're all in this together. So be good to you, but please be good to those around you. Always know that I love you, but God loves you so much more. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Once again, happy birthday to all of our love bugs that are celebrating a birthday, especially if it's on today. Family, have a great rest of your night, okay? And be sure to join me Monday through Thursday, 7 till 9 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Love and Life right here on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. That's right, family. Have a great night. I love you. All right.